Well, hello. So I just wanted to record this so that all of you are aware of what I've been doing these last 3 months because I haven't posted that much. So what I have been doing is continue writing or continuing my writing on my book. And I think right now I'm going to talk a little bit what I'm going to cover in it because I spent a lot of time on this. I've been working on it for over a year. And if it wasn't for this darn pandemic, it would probably already be done. But with all that put to the side, I have 117,000 words already written, and I'm trying. What I think is going to happen is it's going to probably be around 200,000 words for the first book, and I don't think it's appropriate to split it up into smaller books. But right now, I think the first book is going to be about 200,000 words, so it's going to be a little long, maybe even longer. Depends when I go do my revisions. I might add, subtract things, but I usually add to the book whenever I do revisions. So I think that that's what's going to end up happening. So with this, I really want to talk about what my view of consciousness is. I want to so as a biochemist or someone who studied biochemistry, one of the things that we really are interested in is how does life emerge out of chaos, and how does a primordial soup end up resulting in things that are self-replicating and could end up becoming more and more complex until we end up with something that could resemble a conscious entity, which is what happened here. And so my mentality is similar to what a lot of xenobiogenesis, xenobiogenic people believe, is that we think that life is complex and life is difficult to arise because the conditions necessary for life as we know it to arise are very there's a very thin window of what is appropriate and what life can thrive in. So for that, we talk about the Goldilocks zones around suns that are able to support liquid water, and that liquid water just has to have the right kinds of elements that are mixed into it so that life can arise. But one of the things that I want to bring up is that a lot of biochemists don't believe that that is how it works. Perhaps there's a completely different set of chemicals, or maybe not even chemicals. Maybe there are other types of matter that could, in theory, host or create life or create consciousness. And so something that I want to do in my book is go through the thought process of how can this happen, and what are the, say, religious or spiritual implications of life emerging out of nothing, or what would be presumably be nothing. And I think this is a topic that can almost become a little spiritual. If so, one of the things that I like to think about is when Elon Musk talks about how we're more likely to be in a simulation than not, because what are the likelihoods that we are simulating things right now? Well, we simulate many things right now, and as things become more and more complicated, as we progress as a society, our simulations become more and more real, right? And more detail is being encoded into the simulations. And so his thought process is, well, then it's more likely than not that we are living in a simulation. And granted, there are a lot of logical leaps that can take place within that, but the mentality is, okay, given a simple set of rules, given a simple set of beliefs, it's not that crazy to believe that we are living in a simulation. Okay, so that's one thing that Elon Musk believes. What I believe, which is a little against that, is that it's not that simulations are very likely, it's that consciousness is extremely likely, given certain conditions of whatever medium you're dealing with. So, so we like to think as life needs to start in water, right? Life needs water as a solvent so that you can get the cells to be produced, you can get the proteins to be produced, but that isn't necessarily the case. I want to make the argument that consciousness could theoretically arise in completely different media than what we think is the media necessary for consciousness to exist. And if we just make a few, you know, typical, what would the word be? If we make just a few assumptions on how consciousness can arise, how could it possibly arise, then it is very likely that it has happened in how expansive the universe is. And if it has happened in the expanse of the universe, it probably has found a way to reach all parts of the universe after the billions of years that it has existed. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about. What is consciousness? How does consciousness relate to how we train artificial intelligence of the computers that or of the software that we're dealing with right now? And how, what are the, how do we create the consciousness? Like, what is the actual process that could make consciousness arise? And a lot of it is it's very similar to how we train artificial intelligence right now. We deal with multiple artificial intelligences, and then we have them communicate and we have them compete against each other. And through that competitive or repetitive process, things that would normally seem overly complex end up emerging consciousness or emerging intelligence, similar to a fractal would, or similar to think of the chaos of having matter spread throughout the universe, but just simply having gravity and electromagnetism and all these other forces that are iterated with each step of time that takes place. That iteration or that repetition of a simple set of rules can end up creating a very complex system that we see in our universe today. And if we take this mentality that you could come with very simple chaos, very simple chaos, and if you have a repetitive set of simple rules that are repeated over and over again, you could theoretically come up with very complicated, I'll call them fractals, but very complicated, what would the word be, objects arising out of that or emerging out of it. And so I just want to traverse that mentality when writing this book, and so that other people can sort of understand where I'm coming from whenever I think of what is consciousness, what is life, and what is, I guess, what is meaning, right? So with that, I just want you to know I have the word count up here. It's only at 7,600, but this is in addition to another document that has 100 and like, uh, yeah, I think it's 109,000 words in it. So yeah, I'm very close to 117,000 words. So I'm happy. Um, it's almost done. I'm trying to balance that and trying to like survive, um, which is kind of hard to do in a pandemic, but we all got to make do, right? So with that, thanks for watching, and hopefully I will have more videos out for you, because apparently some people are now interested in, I shouldn't say now, but there's more people interested in the channel than there was a few days ago. So with that, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.